In this video, we're taking a look at stage presence as you lead worship. Now, looking a certain way on stage, as we all know, is not the purpose of us leading worship. But there are things that you can do that will help you present yourself better on stage, not so that you look better, but so that you can lead your congregation more confidently in worship. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, worship stage presence isn't like this magic bullet, and once you get it right, you're going to be an amazing worship leader. There's a lot of other things that go into it, and so I want to make sure that you know those things, and that's why I've linked down in the description below a free audio training I put together called 5 Tips to Instantly Improve Your Worship Leading. So if you're serious about improving your worship leading, check that out down in the description below. But in this video, we're talking about stage presence and how you can present yourself confidently on stage and not feel awkward, not for the sake of you looking good, but for the sake of you leading your church well and not making them feel awkward. So that's what we're talking about in this video, and let's get into it. All right, worship stage presence. Modeling worship, whatever you want to call it. I feel like sometimes people are put off by this notion of stage presence, but we all know what we're talking about when we say that. So the first thing that it starts with is not staring at your music stand. That is the number one rule of worship team stage presence, is don't stare at your music stand the whole time. When you're just staring at your music stand, you aren't leading the people of your church. You're just playing a song. So everything that we're about to talk about from this point on involves not staring at your music stand. And I put that up front because I know that a lot of people do that. Like, that is our comfort zone. And in this video, even though I've argued for it before, I'm not even talking about getting rid of your music stand. I'm just simply talking about not staring at it the entire time you lead worship. Seriously, if you use a music stand, or the cool kids all use iPads now clipped onto their microphone stand or whatever, think about how much time did you spend staring at it? And if you don't know, if you can't answer that question, go look back at your live stream and you'll probably realize I've been staring at that the whole time. Like, for example, when I do these videos, I've got the bullet points on my phone. Now, imagine if instead of that, and occasionally glancing at them between the cuts in this video, and then, like, that's how I usually do it. I do a part of the video, I'll look down, get the next point, and look back up and start talking on that point. Now imagine if instead of doing that during these videos, I had it written out word for word, a word for word script of this, and I was just following along the entire time. Hey, Spencer here from leadingworshipwell.com. This is the place where we talk about how to lead yourself well, lead your church well, and lead worship well. In this video, we're going to be talking about 5 essentials of worship stage presence etiquette. Like, I sound the same as I'm doing that, but my presentation isn't good because I'm staring at my phone the whole time. That's what you look like when you lead worship and stare at your music stand the whole time. So, would you watch that video? No, you probably wouldn't, because I'd just be reading off a script, all right? That's not what we want to do when we're leading worship either. We want to lead our people, and you're still watching this video right now because I am being engaging, because I'm looking at you. I'm staring at you. I'm making eye contact with you. That is what's engaging. And so we can't do those sorts of things if we're always staring down at our music stand the entire time we're leading worship. So that's where it starts. Worship team stage presence, or stage presence when you're on the worship team, doesn't start with like acting a certain way. It simply starts by taking your eyes off your music stand. So keep that in mind this Sunday. You should probably only be looking at your music stand like literally 5% of the time. If it was up to me, you wouldn't have a music stand at all, and you wouldn't be staring at the confidence monitor anymore. Quick aside, or not really an aside, but an elaboration. I talked about you have the music stand, You've got the iPad, that's sort of the newest thing, but a lot of us also have confidence monitors. And so don't have your eyes glued to the confidence monitor. I was talking to a worship leader one time just about her worship ministry, and I had watched the live stream of her church. And like one of the first things I said to her was, is your confidence monitor off to like the left side of your stage down on the floor? She was like, how did you know that? I'm like, because your worship team was staring at it the entire time. And I'm not like you're a horrible worship team because you did that. I'm just saying I could tell where your confidence monitor was, and it's not just that church that does that. Like, I do that. I led for the longest time without a confidence monitor, and now that I have one, I stare at it more than I probably should. So, all that to say, worship stage team, worship stage presence etiquette starts with getting your eyes off of the lyrics on a music stand or your chords on a music stand, off of the iPad you have attached to whatever stand you have, off of the confidence monitor. You can only do the following things if you keep your eyes off of that. All right, now onto the good stuff where I don't make you feel bad about staring at your music stand the whole time. Now that we have our eyes off of our music stand, what do? What does worship stage presence look like? Well, the first thing that it involves is looking at the people you're leading. And this takes two forms, in the negative sense at least. When we aren't looking at the people that we're leading, what does that mean? Well, it's what we already talked about, where you are staring down at your music stand the whole time, or up at the confidence monitor, or whatever, or you also have your eyes closed all the time, right? So don't do either of those two things. Open your eyes and look at the people you're leading, and I promise that it's not creepy, it's not awkward. You aren't like staring at them the whole time as you're leading worship and never taking your eyes off of them. It's not a staring contest like this. You're just occasionally looking out over the people that you're leading, and every once in a while, you'll lock eyes with somebody. Most people won't even be looking at you, though. They'll be looking at the words on the screen behind you. But that's encouraging when the person on stage is confident enough to look at the people that they're leading. That helps you lead your church better, because whenever you're staring at your music stand the whole time, you communicate, I don't know these songs very well. Even if you do know the songs well, and you're just doing it because it's comfortable, but that's what you're communicating. I'm going to sit here and read this piece of music instead of leading my church. So that's what that communicates. If your eyes are closed, you're communicating, this is just my time with God. It's just me and God. There's nobody else in the room. But you can have those personal moments, those personal worship times outside of a Sunday morning. So if that's what you want to do on a Sunday morning, go do it somewhere else. Sorry, you are on stage to lead the people in your room. So focus on that. Open your eyes and look at the people you're leading. The third thing to do for good worship stage presence is to smile. People don't want to look at people who are angry the whole time. And you probably don't even consciously think about this, but a lot of times when we sing, we get like these weird looks on our faces. I'm totally guilty of this. If you look at my advanced acoustic guitar covers and pause at random points in the video, you will see me making some crazy faces. So that's just part of singing. But if you're just standing there playing an instrument, you can have a smile on your face. You can look like you're enjoying what you're doing. So just focus on smiling. And it will show people in your church that you're joyful, that you're happy to be leading worship. Now, obviously, match that expression with what's going on in the song. If it doesn't make sense to smile while you're singing a certain song, then don't smile while you're doing it. I feel like I always use the song Lord, I Need You as an example for that, where it's like you wouldn't be standing up there singing, Lord, I come, I confess, right? Like you're confessing your sins, so don't smile during that, because that doesn't make sense. Now, whenever you get to the happy part of bowing here I find my rest, like that's where you can smile. But just keep that in mind. But most of the time, we are singing joyful worship songs, right? So you can smile and be happy that you're in front of your church leading them in worship. Number 4, to have stage presence while you're leading worship. This is sort of one of my biggest pet peeves, is that when people aren't engaged when they aren't playing. Now, for a lot of worship teams, they struggle with just standing there and not playing at all. And so instead of doing that, they just play the entire time, and the whole song sounds exactly the same. I talk about that in my How to Have Better Worship Song Arrangements videos. I'll link that down in the description below. But once you get past that point, and you realize that you don't need to be playing the entire time during the entire song, especially if you're the drummer. You aren't just doom doom ka doom 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 ka the entire time. What do? Well, you don't just stand there, or sit there, I should say, on your drum throne, twiddling your thumbs, waiting to come in. Like, this is boring, man. I'd never come in until the second verse. That's a joke that I have with my cajon player. I'm like, what do you do in this song? You're like, I know, come in on the second verse, because that's when I always have him come in. But as you're sitting there, you don't just sit there and think like, okay, I'm got like a minute and a half until I come in this song, so I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll check my phone. Maybe I'll fiddle with my drumsticks. No, like, be engaged in worship. Think, what would you do if you were in the congregation of your church right now and not up on stage? Would you be waiting to come in, or would you be worshiping along with the rest of the team? Imagine if your church looked on your stage, and instead of seeing you waiting to come in at the specific part you're supposed to come in, you were worshiping. Back to Lord, I Need You. If you're doing like an acoustic version, maybe come in with a shaker on chorus number 1 during that first whole section of the song you aren't in, but you're just singing there. You're sitting at your drum set. Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I find my rest without you. Like, take that time to worship. And don't just be waiting to come in. So, be engaged even when you aren't playing in the song. And finally, number 5. I wanted to say that this was the most practical one, but all of these have been practical before. Stop staring at your music stand. Look at the people that you're leading. Smile and engage in worship when you're not leading. So those were all practical. Here's another practical one, I guess, and that is to have open body language. Maybe you've heard of that before. You can be closed off in your body language, or you can be open with your body language. Closed off says, I'm nervous, don't know what I'm doing, I don't belong in this space right now. Confident says, I am owning the space that God has blessed me and privileged me to be in right now. So, what is closed body language? Well, some of the most common that I see is, number 1, staring down at your music stand and never looking up at the people that you're leading. I already covered that, so we won't talk about that too much. But even if you don't have a music stand in front of you and you have your music memorized, a lot of us still would rather stare at the ground or just like look like over our people's heads. Like, imagine if I did the whole video like this whole video like this, like, you'd be like, what are you looking at? It's the same whenever you're leading worship. So look at the people that you're leading. Don't look down, but look up and see them. That is confidence, when you can make eye contact with somebody. And then another common one I see is arms crossed. And I don't think you see this too much with singers out front. Maybe you do a little bit, but I've been seeing it particularly on live streams of like bass players, keyboard players, guitar players, as they're waiting to come in, kind of what I talked about in the last point. Like, we want to be engaged whenever we aren't playing. And so don't sit there with your arms crossed on your guitar, because that's closed body language, right? But when you open it up and you're standing there with your guitar like this, like, see the difference between Lord, I come, I confess, and Lord, I come, I confess. Like, there's a big difference because one is closed off, one is not closed off, one is open body language. And then just the last practical way to have open body language is to put your shoulders back. This is just like common life advice with leading worship well, isn't it? But have your shoulders back. Having your shoulders back says that you are confident. And so before you get up on stage, or if you ever feel like I'm not confident in this moment, literally the act of rolling your shoulders back, standing up straight, gives you confidence in that moment. So don't stand there hunched over, looking at the ground, arms crossed. Be confident. You are in the specific spot you're in on your worship team, on your stage, as a vocalist, as a instrumentalist, for a reason. You belong there. So stand confidently. And that is the secret to stage presence. Confidence. Now, when can you practice this stage presence? Because I understand it's still awkward whenever you're in front of your church, and this isn't something that if you aren't comfortable on stage, you aren't going to fix it this Sunday by doing that. And so I want you to practice at your worship team rehearsal. And if you're a worship team leader, I want you to give your team the chance to practice this at rehearsal. And if you want to have a great rehearsal with a plan where you can actually practice stage presence, I've got something for you down in the description below. It's a link to a free PDF I put together called the Worship Rehearsal Blueprint. In that blueprint, I'll teach you how to have the perfect worship rehearsal. It's a step-by-step plan for a perfect worship rehearsal that leads your team well, not just musically, so you know the songs for Sunday, but also spiritually and relationally as well, so that your team can be developed in their faith, grow in their faith, and also grow in their relationships with each other. So check out the Worship Rehearsal Blueprint down in the description below. Other than that, thanks so much for joining me. Until I see you in the next video, keep leading worship well.